Good evening, everybody. We are back to some Cyberpunk tonight. Um, I kind of don't have any options other than to do some main quests. That's not entirely true. There are I guess the jobs. I don't quite know what the game calls them, but the sort of stuff that I was doing for the various fixers. Those are effectively done, at least until I get a little bit more progress through the main story. And then we have some of the side jobs, which I don't mind doing. I'd rather do them before the main path just so I don't miss out on anything. Although the last time I checked, hey, Revive Snow, good to see you. Um, but yeah, so with those, I will be, I'll clear those first. If I recall correctly, the game's pretty good at warning you when you sort of hit the point of no return. But I also sort of feel if I do that, at least that was true for Phantom Liberty. But I suppose if I rely on that and I don't pursue some of the optional content, what's going to happen is we get close to a climax for the game, and then I'm going to run around doing a bunch of side jobs, and we will basically have forgotten what what the earlier, or like we'll lose the momentum for the main quest. So I don't mind sort of now that we've got the bulk of it out of the way. I don't mind taking the time to run through the the side quests as they come up, rather than batch them all like before. Has it been raining where you are, Revive Snow? We actually had a downpour a little bit, but fortunately I was indoors for that. And then when I walked home, it always had the threat of rain, but it was never too. Oh, that's nice. Yesterday was quite nice. I actually quite like the rain. It's just I get caught in it every once in a while. But yeah, today it really came down for a bit, but in a way that kept me. It didn't involve me, so.
Orbital Air welcomes you to NCX, Night City International and Translunar. Don't wait. Leave your earthly worries, ulcers, and tumors behind and take off for the stars. Taste true freedom. Be who you want to be. Pursue your heart.
Sorry, I just see. I've got a little. It's not exactly a stain, but there's something on the monitor that's actually kind of bugging me. So I'm just gonna deal with that. That's really on there. Sorry, I thought I was ready to go. And all right, I think that's as good as I'm gonna get it. Streamer fully prepared? Impossible. Yeah. Well, I told it. This sounds a little more grouchy than I intended, but one of the things that was a nice little clarifying moment for me, I don't. I do apologize for the digressions, partly just because I know for some people who are first coming to the stream, if they're expecting to see the game, that'll sometimes throw them off. Um, and the thing is that I think there are ways that I can do the digressions without them necessarily being as long as they wind up being. But of course, if you're in the moment, it's not always clear. And I think one of the nice clarifications for me, though, there's always that worry, oh, you're not playing the game, so you're not giving people what they want. And it was one of the rare times I don't really watch streams to learn about games. I just kind of decide this looks like something I want to play. I know I've told this story before, but I believe I went to 3 different streams to look for Doom Eternal, and not a single one of them was actually playing the game. One of them was just sitting in the menu, and there was no activity at all. That was actually the top one on the stream. And we're not talking like a little while. It was actually an extended period where they were away. There was one that was just chatting with their stream, which again, I don't actually think is a bad thing. But again, the game was paused and they were talking. And then another one was in the menu talking with people. And at that point, I'm sort of like, well, people obviously have their opinions about my stuff, but at least in terms of revealed preferences, like this is not stopping some of the biggest streams, streaming a highly anticipated game where there's no shortage of alternatives, right? It's really, it's to me, it's not the right way to react to that is not, well, why aren't I bigger then? I mean, that's just going to drive you insane and probably make you not a very pleasant person to be around. But I think the big lesson out of this is nobody really knows the formula. There are things that can seem identical between 2 groups of streamers. And the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of, you really do need to account for all of the factors. It's not enough to just sort of look at stuff in isolation like I am there. But when you say streamer fully prepared, like it's funny, of course, because this is always true of streams. But where I do, I try to, be ready to go when I start. And I keep failing at that. But you visit streams to bask in the streamer's glory. Well, that's why I hang out with you, Revive Snow. Actually, one of the things I will say, I'll mention about Revive Snow's stream. If you can just give me one more second here. One thing, for those of you that don't know, Revive Snow has a VTuber avatar. I'll do the proper shout out when we have a little more of a pulse in chat. But one of the things that I quite like is occasionally I will say silly thing. Like I'm not 100% sure what the setup is, but I imagine Revive Snow, you've got the it's hooked up to some sort of like camera or motion sensor or something along those lines so that it sort of tracks your movement and to some degree the facial expressions. But one of my favorites is occasionally I will say something silly and there's just a slight delay and then a big grin appears on the avatar. And like sometimes it's very subtle, so it's just, it looks normal, but there's like a couple of times where it goes from like stone-faced to almost like emoji smile. And those are always just like, I know what message just got read there. At least I like to think so. It could also be that Revive Snow is just very good at creating the impression. But that is actually one feature that I found very charming about the avatar. All right, believe it or not, we're actually ready to go past this loading screen. So, looks like I was going to X Factor, but I can definitely take care of the assault in progress too. Yep, no, that is the last of the side quests. So it seems to me like it makes as much sense to take care of the little side job here, seeing as it says I need to do this in the early morning, and it is 6:30 in the evening. Ah, neat. I don't even know what's happening. Archive conversation. Osamu Gosho and Hideo Nisho? Hideo, I need you to go herd some pigs. Remind them where their turf ends and ours begins. Sure thing. Redwood. Got it. Archived patrol. Calling all units in Westbrook. I repeat, calling all units in Westbrook. 2891 reporting, 1020 Westbrook. Head to Redwood Street in Japantown. Order to increase our presence in the area, coming from the chief. Japantown, alone? Requesting additional units for backup. Request denied. This some pre-election stunt? That's Tiger Turf. Are you refusing to comply? 2891, come in and respond. Negative. Order accepted. Will comply. Fucking chief. 2891, say again. Fuck, nothing, nothing. Copy that. Okay. I need to take this a little more seriously now.
Come out, please.
Another motherfucker trying to kill me!
Come out immediately.
And this, I believe it does. I'm actually going to take a quick minute. I should have a source book that answers that. That was one change I actually didn't care for in, from what I heard in the TV show for Man in the High Castle. In the Philip K. Dick book, I believe Canada is actually its own nation still, whereas I think in the TV show they combined it. Controlling the world with their underground maple syrup. So it seems like Quebec is mentioned. It seems like Quebec is actually mentioned in a source book. Let me just see. I'm pretty sure I've got the Cyberpunk Red book on my tab. This makes me glad makes me glad that I have my tablet actually. Okay. So I've got the Cyberpunk Red source book here, and I'm actually just going to do a good old-fashioned search for Canada. Printed in Canada, what? Huh, fancy that. Okay, America, the Eagle Falls. This is from Broken World of 2020. A global firestorm. During the last years of the 20th century, a series of ecological disasters also took a huge toll on the infrastructure of the United States. Global warming melted much of the polar ice caps, resulting in higher sea levels. Large parts of the east coast and south went underwater or partially became swampland. What remained of New Orleans ended up on stilts, and Houston rapidly found itself with a much increased local alligator population. Rising temperatures thawed out much of southern Alaska, northern Canada, and the upper U.S. These became the new breadbasket areas, producing the verdant fields of bioengineered survival grains that became the basis of much of the U.S. economy. However, these same changes in climate dried up even more areas than they helped. In the Great Plains in the southwest, whole regions became desert in only a few years. Unhampered by tree cover, violent winds scoured the land with driving sandstorms. The Pacific Northwest suffered throughout 20 years of drought-stricken forests and water shortages. This in turn triggered immense forest fires that roared through tinder-dry forests, covering the entire west in a pall of thick gray smoke. So that's that only had a passing mention of Canada. Ziggurat, the backbone of the modern... Okay, so I think this is a corpse section. Let me just see here. I can consult the index, so 281. Yeah, so this seems to be a description of corpse. The backbone of modern communication and data infrastructure. Headquarters, Night City. Regional offices, most North American cities. Chief Officer, UR. Employees, 115,000. Background. Ziggurat seemingly appeared from nowhere in 2030 in Night City with a plan to transform the old fiber optic data term network into a new system and restore cheap and reliable communication across the whole of the Metroplex. With a grant from Night Corp and buy-in from the fractious City Council, the brand new CityNet was up and operational within months. Ziggurat further increased its usability by overlaying the CityNet with the first data pool, an open protocol for displaying and sharing data that anyone could use. Ziggurat quickly spread out from Night City to other metroplexes in North America, repeating the process. By 2040, most cities in the new United States, the Pacifica Confed, Canada, and the Free States had CityNets and data pools courtesy of the company. So, not that I want to skip over the setting, but in this case, the fact that Canada is referred... So you've got the new names for the various political entities, but Canada is sort of independent and seemingly unchanged. Seems like we weathered it pretty well. All right, so that was a nice little... you imagine Horizon-like robot moose and geese roaming around, enforcing the peace. I think Canada geese would be very good at keeping everyone in line. Actually, outside work, It's been a little while, so I remember there were like little chicks for Canada geese, and they're nice and yellow and fuzzy. I actually like Canada geese a lot more than I think most people do. But yeah, the chicks were, you know, yellow and fuzzy and cute, and they've been growing up. But every once in a while, when I can, there's like two bits of wildlife that I notice the most. There's one where there's the geese, which I'll kind of see on my way in. It's actually been a couple days since I've seen them, but I'm sure they're around. And then if I work late and I walk by one of the buildings from work, there's this tiny little bunny. Like it's almost it like if you would imagine like a chocolate Easter bunny, it's about that size. The only difference is that if it was a chocolate Easter bunny, it almost certainly would be one that was like fallen on the floor in a barber shop. Like it's clearly a fuzzy living thing. It will run like hell as soon as it sees me, so I don't get to see it for long. But it's a cute little thing. And I have also seen a groundhog and foxes. And actually, from my window at work, I get to see a hawk sort of fly around quite a bit.
Say, Brendan, what's the difference between a broken bone and a broken heart?
System error. I repeat, system error.
Ah, damn it to hell.
What do you need? Well, we need the pipe fixed, that's for sure. Maybe something to fix up some of the units too. There's water damage all over. Alright, I'll take care of it. Thank you.
You're about to know my wreck.
Kaboom! Saw yourself conquistador! An explosion of taste!
Oh, that'd be fun. It's a little tricky in the case of Civ 7 just because they do that new eras system. So like obviously Canada could be a modern Civ, but it's a tricky one to it's like a tricky one to manage in the context of what they're doing with Civ 7. I would love that so much. I remember being really happy when Canada was added in Gathering Storm. But I can definitely see why they would want specific civs in 7. By the way, thank you for being one of the first people in a while to mention Civ 7 with a comment that wasn't about how much they disliked it. I've been spending a bit less time on the Old World subreddit because there's so many people who are saying some equivalent for like, yeah, Civ 7 sucks, so I'm glad this game's around. I'm like, it's possible to enjoy a game without trashing another one. Because I've quite enjoyed Civ 7. I've got to spend a little less time in it than I wanted, but... I think the thing for me is I can't think of a lot of 4X games that get released in any given year. So it strikes me as the sort of genre where there's probably enough space for people to enjoy more than one game. All right, Dr. Havoc and Radon. The battery sphere is in dire straits. The Irinians have occupied almost half of the city. Them and their technocrat Scourge have transformed almost everyone into hordes of mindless zombies. Battery Arena is now the final point of resistance against the invaders from Planet X. It seems that the end is inevitable. That is, until the legendary mercenary pair arrive just in the nick of time after years of mysterious absence. Amidst the cigar smoke and glint of chrome armor, Dr. Havoc and Radon slaughter scores of enemies without mercy. After all, who could possibly slow the mighty force of a laser-armed mountain of muscle and his spitfire of a sidekick who can transform into a sentient cloud of radioactive gas? I'll tell you, no one so far. Rose Tenorio and Marotini Eliezer take us into the world of computer games, first imagined in the bestseller novel Kibble and Scop by Abe Frost. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready for a roller coaster ride of comic book violence. If you've ever wondered what the action of Battery Arena may have looked like, Dr. Havoc and Radon is a must-buy. Dive in now. Okay, as much as I like Never Fade Away, I don't like the radio playing except when I'm in the car. Just wait all day outside of Milady's apartment, just like in real life.
Hey, V. Thanks for showing. Talking with Maiko is like a game of 3D chess. Don't let her derail you.
Care to be a bit more specific? Wouldn't mind knowing what to expect.
Expect everything. Miss a beat, she'll wrap you around her finger, get you on her agenda while thinking you're the one in control.
Ooh. Guess I know the type. Some deets about her could be useful when I talk to her, don't you think?
No, leave the talking to me.
So in brief, I'm just here as your hustle, right?
Never said that. I just know the woman better.
How do you aim to get her over to our side?
By telling the truth. About Evelyn, what happened and why.
Think that'll cut it?
No. Have to improvise from there.
You seem a bundle of nerves.
I've a mind to kill the bastards with my bare hands. So yeah, you could say I'm a teensy bit nervous.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Hold on, I'll open it.
A lock like that? No way you cracked it open on your first try. You know how to get around their systems?
Appears so. Was hoping they hadn't run any updates since I left. Looks like I was right. Easy as paella. Follow me.
Judy Alvarez. I'd say it's great to see you, but I've never been one to lie. Also, I never like surprise parties, but you know.
Sorry, I'll just get through this now in case we need to get out of here quick. A gem of Japanese elegance, Hanako Arasaka's visit to Night City is a unique chance to take a closer look at a true icon of glass and style. The enigmatic daughter of a recently deceased megacorp CEO has shown us once again why she's a real queen of killer taste. First thing to note is that Hanako wore only Japanese designers, showing off a flair of the patriotism and devotion she was raised with. Second, only a sharp eye might catch the small golden brooch crafted in the shape of the Arasaka Corp logo. Playing it safe but keeping it classy, Hanako also rocked a dove while Neo-Mill pencil dress, simultaneously showcasing a regal modesty without putting off stiff prudishness. Hanako, I also think the dove has a relation. I know there are different factions within Arasaka that are represented by birds, but I don't remember exactly how it breaks down. Hanako is corporate royalty, and she knows it. She's not trying to squeeze in any of that Neo-K flash because her self-confidence is chrome-plated. That said, there are a few accents of gold in her dress, shoes, and hair accessories that tastefully elevate the outfit and harmonize beautifully with her nails and real-skin seams. Then, with her coat sporting a fierce red, she adds an almost predatory pop to the ensemble. Color choice by coincidence? No way. Or a nod to the Japanese national colors? Probably way. As we've seen time and time again, Hanako doesn't shy away from incorporating both traditional and modern elements in her home country's heritage.
Yup, bet I even know why.
Thought you'd hit rock bottom when you joined the Mox. Guess you've managed to stoop even lower now. Consorting with a persona who is very non grata. Yes, V. I mean you.
Guess I left a lasting impression. Good. Paid you one visit, and you remember me.
My job, among other things, is to remember unsavory customers. Naturally, I take it upon myself to deal with them, too. Now, how am I to deal with you?
Don't mind me. Just here to blend into the decor.
That's no reason. Why come at all?
To make sure Judy gets what she came for.
Jude would have had a better chance without you.
Starting to think blowing hot air is all you're good at.
A pathetic attempt at getting under my skin. What's next? Threats?
We're not done talking, but you do well to hear Judy out. Or we'll make sure your worst fears come true.
Oh, stand to lose my youth, eddies, and influence?
Something's gonna happen. But you'll be the last to know.
Huh.
Want to tear clouds out of the Tiger Claw's paws. Doll should own it. Control it.
All right. This has been fun and all, but I think it's time you got going.
We gotta do something, or everyone will end up like Evie. Woodman raped her while she was unconscious, then sold her like she was so much scrap.
Mess with the claws? Blowback will hit every one of the dolls in here.
So, you won't help.
I thought I expressed myself clearly. Gonna pretend as if you two weren't ever here. For old time's sake, Judy. Literally moments from now, security's gonna figure out you're here. Got two options. Go out the way you came in, or get thrown out. And that's not a threat or figure of speech. Just a friendly heads up.
Had enough. I'm leaving.
Smart move. And so you don't think I'm brushing you off completely, Forrest will be on the maintenance level in a couple minutes. Alone.
I'm not your enemy here.
And I didn't ask for your opinion.
You picked the wrong side, Maiko.
I'll be the judge of that.
Dollhouse feedback. Celeste, great performance, no change in attitude since last month's events. Divine, average performance, eager to work overtime, good work attitude. Gale, no improvement in work attitude, no willingness to change, last warning. Heaven, average performance, good work attitude, candidate for plastic surgery. Morningstar, first month, trial period going well so far. Sky, highest level performance, exemplary attitude, consider requesting TC for bonus or bump in her salary. Sun, high performance, talks back to her supervisor, but otherwise okay. Lost focus after Parker's disappearance, keep an eye on her. Angel, high performance, exemplary attitude, second candidate for Azure Prize. Seems rare, system rarely chooses him, find out why. Mistral, average performance, okay attitude. Rain, another complaint from a client, needs disciplinary talk. Storm, very big improvement since last month, keep an eye on her. Torrent, okay performance, lost focus after Parker's disappearance, keep an eye on. Zephyr, satisfactory performance, correct work attitude, no irregularities in 2 years, deserves a raise if we can allow it. Thanks and sorry from Maiko Mado to Martha Ortega. Hey Martha, thanks for the date. You're a nice girl and I like you, but it's just not gonna happen. Please don't take it personally. It's me. I realize that I'm not ready for a commitment yet. Welcome to Heart Solutions. Dear Maiko, welcome to the elite service of Heart Solutions. As the sole service provider on the market, we take what we do very seriously. We know that time is money for our clients. That's why we guarantee you will find the right person within the next 90 days. If your future partner does not meet your expectations, we ensure a full refund. In order to help start your journey, we'll send a questionnaire that will allow our algorithm to choose the best person for your first date. Take your shit, from Judy Alvarez to Maiko. This is the third time I'm telling you, take back your precious sweaters. I don't have space for them in the substandard mediocre unit, lacking that doesn't square with your ambitions. Might as well just send over one of the bimbos that keep circling you like flies. Otherwise, they're going straight to the recycling because I can't look at them anymore. It's amazing how shitty your taste was. Clearly, I wasn't just gonk, but blind too. And I asked you to give me a bit of time to think about things and to give yourself a little time to cool down. I don't care about all that stuff, you can toss it out, but I'd like to come over and talk anyway. This all escalated so quickly. I feel like it was a misunderstanding and maybe we brought up too much too quickly. It doesn't have to end this way, and even if it does, it doesn't have to be so all of a sudden. As far as I'm concerned, we're done talking. I've already buried it, and no way I'm digging it back up again. Not with you. You're just doing what you always do, buttering me up with promises you don't actually want to keep. Just tell me when you're coming and I'll leave a bag with your shit in the front door. Don't ring the bell or knock because I won't answer. Telling you ahead of time just so we're clear. Okay, and I'll just tell you this. Toss that shit out the window. It's trash. I don't give a shit about any of it, and I'm not coming. Nice, you can afford to do that. I guess that's what you do. That's what you do with everything. Throw it out like trash. No remorse, no regrets. If you find any of my shit, feel free to leave it, hand leave it on the Jig Street for people who need them. As for your clothes, you could get jumped wearing this, so I'd rather just burn it. You went too far, Judy, to Maiko. You crossed the line today. Since when do I need permission to go into your office? Security contact you, so don't bullshit me with procedures. It was your call. Just cool down and stop throwing a fit, or you'll get us both in trouble. I have to keep up some semblance of professionalism, which you've clearly never had to deal with. Cost me an arm and a leg, but I managed to elbow my way into a better position. Don't think I can't lose it all because of a little carelessness. One little slip and they'll toss me into a hole I'll never crawl out of. Now you suddenly care about rules and appearances? Where were those rules when I tweaked the stats on the doll chips so you could jump up the ranks? I didn't just do that for your career. I did it because I wanted things to change. Only change I see is you becoming self-obsessed and lacking any conviction whatsoever. While everything else is just the way it used to be. You seem to be doing a-fucking okay. That's your perspective, but I see what's happening on the ground. Change is happening. I really don't understand why you can't just trust me. It's not like I started out wanting to manage this place. Don't you know that I'm doing this for us? I'm thinking about our future. I thought that would be proof enough of my commitment. Looks like for some reason it just pisses you off. Sue me, I guess. Congratulations, Maiko. You've ascended and left me back here in the real world. Seems our perspectives don't align anymore. It's so obvious now that all this ambitious you went on and on about was really just you wanting power. Shame on me for not noticing sooner. I didn't think it was possible to hate the city even more, but you went and did it. Got yourself chewed up. I hope when it finally spits you out, there'll be something left of you. The old you. I miss you, from Judy to Maiko. Took my work home because that sleazeball was standing over me the whole time watching my hands move. The fuck did that shithead think? That I'd clept some cables? Anyways, gotta go back still today and set it up on the spot. I'd really just rather come back home. Miss you. Why don't you swing by the office? I don't have much going on today. Maybe we could think of a way to wind down and reward your hard day's work. The bartender brought me a few bottles of champagne upstairs, not the shitty kind, from some TC shindig. We could have our own private event, just you and me. Why did she come see you so often? She couldn't have left it for, she couldn't have just left it for you? If it was me, I'd have sold it for some extra scratch. After all, tigers don't drink your average piss. Look, I don't know what she wants, but I don't believe that she's just being, being nice bullshit. Sit that bitch down. She's really starting to piss me off. I'll drop by later. Mox is doing a party. It's May 13th, anniversary of Lizzie's death and the gang's creation. It's like our national holiday. Anyway, if tomorrow will be like the last time, I might just get over, I just might get over the bitch. Woodman too. I just hope your desk can handle it this time. Okay, I'll be waiting then. I can't focus on work anymore. If the desk falls apart, boo-hoo. I was thinking of getting a bigger one anyway. Just don't forget to come in through the back. Now that they have to have me to face up to, they'll be looking for any weak points, which of course I don't have, except you. Who knows, maybe they'll find something else, like the pad thai that you made last week that was too sweet. Besides, if I'm your weak point, then you have nothing to worry about, because this solid-ass weak point can take care of herself. I'd sooner worry about all your kinky fetishes and fondness for taking risks. Monthly expenses, doll equipment, employee equipment, medical expenses, cleaning services, cleaning equipment, alcohol and catering, unforeseen expenses. We can ask the dolls to clean up after closing, but they'll put up a fight and won't even do it properly. You can let Forrest go. I'll be happy to take over his responsibilities. And JA, do not delete.
That went smoothly. She didn't even let me make my point.
Don't worry. She put on an act. She needed to show who's boss. We took her by surprise. I mean, she couldn't do anything but throw us out. She'll call soon enough and ask what we actually wanted.
You might be onto something.
You two have a history?
Way back, yeah. Think I just felt lonely.
Like everyone in Night City.
She was different then. And so was I.
Can't trust people that see everything as a numbers game. Line between patting you on the back as their friend and planning on knifing you as their enemy is down to a decimal.
I know. Right there with you. Well, used to have a big crush on her. Took me a long time to realize who she really was. But still, honest or crooked, we need her. Just think, could have gone diving this morning.
A little unwinding do you good. Do me good too, actually.
I wouldn't have been unwinding, not exactly. Got an idea buzzing in my head, working it, but I can't say if it'll amount to anything.
Yeah, you, a deck chair, and a Mai Tai with a cocktail umbrella. Somehow I don't see it.
No, me in a deck chair's me mulling over coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Something I avoid right now.
New episodes every Wednesday at 10. Only on WNS.
Wait a sec. What about Woodman?
Well, what do you want to do?
I want somebody to unload lead into his face till there is no face.
Somebody?
Fine. Want you to do it.
You sure he's gonna be there?
You met Michael. If that prick still works here, it's 'cause he follows her orders pretty damn precisely.
I wish I remembered who Woodman was. You can just give me a quick second. I'm going to look that up. Okay, I remember this guy. He's the one who sold Ev. I mean, I know it. Hello, Sispy. I know it had talked a little bit about who he was and what he'd done, but oh, that's great. Thank you very much for saying so, Sispy. Obviously, the Cyberpunk is a very different change of pace, so I completely understand if this is not your thing. But I always love it when people who come from the Book of Hours content stop by and say hi, because it's obviously I very rarely leave YouTube comments for people, even if I really like their stuff. And the live format, the Twitch format, at least gives me a chance to sort of say thank you for people stopping by and watching. I'm glad you like it. I do fully intend. Well, one, I do intend to wrap up that that run, but I do want to get back to Cultist Simulator, and then there's just so much Book of Hours for me to do. I do plan to be doing a few more runs. All right, sorry, just bear with me a quick second here. While I feel like Lady Macbeth. As soon as I saw the smudge on the monitor, I've been obsessing about it. All right.
Welcome to N54 News.
Don't have an ounce of sympathy for that motherfucker.
So, we going there?
Damn straight. Let's end him.
We'll take the elevator. Quickest way. Maintenance level.
As you recall, 35 miners became trapped deep underground following a...
You know what's worse than a corpo? A wannabe corpo bitch.
You mean Maiko?
Piece of work, that one. But I'll give her credit. She's dead on about your chances of pulling this off.
Plenty of stuff for you to see. I'm currently on my first birthday. Oh, that's great. I also want to go through your Twitch series as well as the DLC and the Cultist Sim content. Yeah. So it's actually quite good that you're doing the first Book of Hours one, because it turns out when I did House of Light on Twitch, the endings are quite different, whether you choose to go for the Book of Hours endings or the...
Where's Maiko? Why'd she fucking call me here?
Evelyn's dead.
Come here just to tell me that. It's fucking kind of you to remember. Here, go light a candle.
When Evelyn needed help, you raped her.
Could have also broken her neck. Hung up her head like a chandelier till it started to rot. Instead, I took her to a ripper. Was due a little something in return. She should be grateful. And so should you.
Here's my token of gratitude. Let's get out of here, V.
Charming little detail to finish the DLC content on. But yeah, so the ending for Book of Hours is one thing, but the Lighthouse Institute endings are...
I thought I'd feel more... be satisfied. Punch the ground floor. Need to get out of this place.
Welcome to N54 News. I'm Jillian Jordan, and this is the...
Yeah, that's why I like...
The world would be a better place once he died. And the feeling, it was so fucking strong.
As you recall,
You know, revenge isn't ever really worth it. People want to believe it'll be the miracle pill for their grief. But that's not how it works.
What's going on?
It's nothing.
Okay, except nothing I can do if you don't tell me.
Guess that's
Sorry, I don't want to get cut in with any more dialogue. But yeah, no, please don't feel obligated to stick around if it's not your sort of game. I definitely... So Cyberpunk is usually the Friday games, but on Monday and Wednesday I've been going through the Ace Attorney series lately. But those are the ones that I usually tend to sort of change it up on as well. So that'll be sort of when I go back to something that's probably a little bit closer to Cultist Simulator. Though I'm of course happy to have you here too if you ever want to chat about some of the other stuff.
Gotta get back to Maiko with something big.
Appealing to her sense of justice wasn't big enough?
Maiko only works with specifics.
A minute there. Thought you were about to call it quits.
V, I go for days tuning virtues in a basement. Know what the chances are of somebody blowing my head off down there?
Minuscule?
Same as Maiko's empathy. Unlike you, I don't put myself out there. But this ain't over. Not yet.
You know, I'm also partial to specifics.
Uh-huh. So that's what matters. How many you'll drop. How much ammo you'll use. How many eddies it'll get you.
Art and dreams of freedom can't be everyone's food. Sometimes you gotta deal with the dirt.
Well, one of the secrets about Book of Hours is that, of course, I was able to play it during its beta, and I do in fact have a spreadsheet. All right.
So, what now?
Gotta think. We need more bodies, that's for sure. I'm gonna talk to the dolls. I'll call you when I've got something. See you later, V. And thanks.
But yeah, so I got to play it during the beta, and that was when I made my first spreadsheet. And the funny thing is that actually kind of tainted my spreadsheet as well, because of course the game was changing during that. But the thing is, of course, because I got to play the game during that period, so that's a few months, if not a year, before Book of Hours, and then of course playing Book of Hours throughout that time, and then of course playing House of Light, I kind of have this head start in terms of understanding the game. Now, I didn't complete the game inside of the beta, so there was definitely some stuff that was new to me. But the fun part about that is that I definitely get to be, I get to seem a little more knowledgeable than I probably actually am in that game, simply because I had that head start. Although I'm very happy, of course, that people find it useful. Like I try where I can to put. I try to give people, it depends on the question that people ask, but sometimes people will ask questions that maybe are even sort of lore questions. And there are, I guess, some examples that I could give, like, I mean, there's some things that I just don't know the answer to. But there are some other ones which might be sort of fun to let people find out. So for instance, I don't know if you've seen Cultist Simulator, but you'll probably know that in the setting, there's a woman named Teresa Galmier. And you definitely meet her in Cultist Simulator. But what people may not always realize that it is actually possible to have her in the game as a character. Now, one thing that you can do is you can say, here's the formula for summoning Teresa, let's say. But what can be a little more fun is you can, say something like I said right now. So technically somebody going in cold for Cultist Simulator won't even know that. But maybe you're somebody who's got a little bit more experience inside of Cultist Simulator, but you've never wound up bringing in that character. The knowledge that you have the ability to do that can be kind of interesting. And what that then does is that inspires people to look at things that they maybe had been taking for granted for a while. And so that's one of the things that's kind of nice for Book of Hours as well. And arguably it's even better for Book of Hours because in Cultist Simulator you have this kind of constant ticking clock which is forcing you to take actions. Whereas Book of Hours, unless it's Numa, you can take as long as you want to do things. And it gives you a chance to do some exploration. So, there'll be some questions which are open questions inside of the setting. There are going to be some questions where there are definite answers. So, for instance, there was somebody had visited the channel and they'd given a very high degree of certainty answer as to what the crime of the sky was. And I could say with certainty that that was not the crime of the sky. However, I also was quite sympathetic because that's what I thought originally. And there is actually a specific line in Book of Hours that sort of denies that common assumption. So again, there's opportunities where if people want a direct answer, I'm always happy to give them. But what can be sort of fun about it is if you give enough of an answer that people feel like they've been given a toehold, but there's still some opportunities left for exploration, or maybe even just something to look forward to in a video. That's always some of the fun. So that's one of the things I also kind of like about being able to sort of have some back and forth with people, whether it's in the channel like this or in the comments. The opportunity to just be able to leave a few breadcrumbs, or sometimes, if somebody asks for a direct answer, to sort of not just give the answer, but maybe offer, here are a couple of indicators to back up what these things are. Because, of course, this is one of the reasons, in general, I like to figure things out on my own. But one of the things that always makes me a little suspicious of taking something from a wiki or Reddit, there's a lot of people who probably know the setting better than I do. But because of the tendency to jump to conclusions, and this is true for myself, I've been wrong on a lot of stuff during my playthroughs as I'm trying to figure it out. But if people just assert it as opposed to present the evidence, there's really no reason to think that it's any more accurate than, what I would come up with. And so at the very least, if you're doing it yourself, you kind of have that knowledge in terms of what your chain of reasoning was. And so if you wind up with something that contradicts it, you can feel fairly certain that your ignorance has been rearranged, as opposed to if you just take it from someone and then you don't necessarily know if someone was mistaken, or if you misunderstood what they'd said, or, there's just no, there's no, like, you can't go to the docs and get people to answer all of the secret histories questions, because it's very deliberately set up to leave some space wide open for people to try and figure things out on their own. I think Weather Factory has a clear idea of where the setting is and what's going to happen in it. But I think they've made a clear decision that they're not going to answer certain things to allow people to sort of make of it what they will. And I have a lot of respect for that, even though as a fan, I'm, I feel a little easier with certainty. All right, from Jim Jerry. Hello, V. If you're behind the wheel, then pull over. No texting and driving. Safety first. The name's Jim Jerry. Sound familiar? Most people associate my name with the sound of squealing tires and the smell of burnt rubber. I know all the best motor jocks in town, and let me tell you, most of them wouldn't hesitate to polish your hubcaps if you ask nicely. The city has seen firsthand how you handle yourself on the road, Choom. The talent, the flair, and the fire in those eyes. That's what this sport is all about. I need to see you race again, V. Again and again and again. But if you won't race for our old pal Jim, then do it for the sweet, sweet 10,000 Euro and auto fixer discount awaiting you at the finish line. Coordinates are on the way. You had me at burnt rubber. I'll do it. I thought it was the Wolf Divided who split up the sun, but in one of the recent videos, there was mention of the Forge of Days. Yes, nope, and it's fun trying to piece things together. I've been enjoying the experience a lot, and I think I'm probably going to get a Book of Hours. That's great to hear. You do come off as plenty knowledgeable, especially when you connect aspects of the game to real life. I love it when you go in this good. That's great to hear. Cultist Simulator was a really special game for me for a number of reasons, but I'd actually just finished grad school around that time. So this idea of playing a game where you're taking little scraps of knowledge and turning them into greater knowledge, was something very directly... that was something that I kind of had a very direct experience of. And I think this is true for a lot of, good literature or good writing. I don't have, so, I'm reading Dune right now, and I'd read Foundation before. It would be very hard for me to say that I have a lot of direct experience of being a far future space traveler. I have no experience of being royalty. I also have no experience of being on the frontier of a space empire. And yet these are stories that I relate to. And I think, given the success of the Dune adaptations, and more importantly, the fact that that has really been something that people have been wanting to adapt basically as long as that has been a series, I think that really speaks to how people from very disparate walks of life will relate to these stories, despite the fact that on the surface, of course, there's absolutely nothing for them to hang on to in terms of direct experience. And of course, we know why, because in general, people don't necessarily care about, the details as being factual accounts. They care more about sort of the bigger truths in terms of relating it to their own experiences and seeing what's going on. And I think one of the things that's neat about the setting of the Secret Histories, a lot of kind of the occult traditions that it's taking its inspiration from have their sort of, a lot of them are inspired by Neoplatonism. And of course, that is just doing its own. It's kind of hard. It depends on, I'm not much of a, like I have done classics, but I'm definitely not a scholar on it. And I think some people will say that a lot of Neoplatonist philosophy is sort of taking Plato as a starting point, and they might be doing a commentary on it, but they're essentially arguing their own stuff. Whereas others portray it as, no, they really do think that they are the true interpreters of Plato. But either way, and I think anybody who's kind of done a philosophy class in school is probably familiar with Plato and the forms and the idea of sort of the world as we know it manifesting these idealized objects, and the greatest form being the good, but there's, all sorts of other ones. And weirdly enough, like it's hard to be into math and not being really not sort of think that Plato was onto something with that. But the thing is, this is an idea literally an ancient idea. It is one that seems to keep coming up in different forms. It's one that people really seem to relate to. And so in addition to the fact that Cultist Simulator is, acknowledging those older traditions, and it's acknowledging that source material, it's broken it down in its own unique way, right? So that divides the world among, Lantern and Grail and so on and so forth. So at no point does it come out and say, these are the forms and we did this because it's, a lot of occultism kind of draws this line through Neoplatonism. And I mean, one thing that's interesting, I found this totally by mistake, but there's this guy, Stephen McKenna, who did sort of the first like full translation of Plotinus, sort of the foundational Neoplatonists, the Enneads. And if you read Stephen McKenna's biography, it reads like a Cultist Simulator character. Like he basically dedicated his life to translating this very strange and difficult to translate ancient Greek scholar, whose work he just sort of felt a connection to in a way that no one really ever had before. And again, like this is not something, I would not call myself a Neoplatonist. I mean, there's always something, it's like reading myth, or it's like reading a lot of these different ideas. These are things that have a certain compelling power to them, right? I think this stuff is sort of hung around for a reason. But I also tend to think one of the reasons why they hold on so well is that it's a framework and it's a kind of storytelling that works very well in terms of just our understanding of the world. So it's actually very ripe material for telling stories. And, the other thing, though, is that you don't need to speak in very exalted ways. Yep, that's exactly. I'm glad. I see. It's tough for me to remember which videos I mentioned that stuff in. But yeah, that's exactly the guy I was talking about. And again, just to give you an idea of how I found that out because somebody mailed me the wrong copy of the Enneads. I was ordering the new translation by Lloyd Gerson, edited by Lloyd Gerson. And instead they gave me the considerably less expensive Stephen McKenna translation. But I mean, it was such a lucky find because it made me aware of this person. And I mean, he knew William Butler Yeats, and William Butler Yeats apparently had like a grudge with Aleister Crowley, who's probably one of the better known occultists. And, all this stuff just tends to sort of run together, and it has all sorts of fun. But it's just one of these things where you can... like basically Cultist Simulator spins a good yarn, and it's sort of true to its source material in the sense that it describes the world in a way that aligns with sort of its points of inspiration. But on top of that, because it is such an old and familiar way of looking at the world, it tends to be just a nice and tidy way that people can sort of understand, and specifically understand through the form of cards. And an analogy that I would draw, actually, is something that happened during the development of Darkest Dungeon, which is actually made by a team that's based in Canada. I believe they're actually American citizens, but I know Red Hook is based in Vancouver, or at least was at the time. And of course, the big innovation of Darkest Dungeon was that it sort of said, you know, the risk to life and limb is not really the scariest part of fighting the monsters, right? It's the long-term psychological toll that, you know, that kind of takes hold over these repeated journeys to the dungeon. And of course, there's those dramatic moments in the game where someone is tested and they tend to develop a certain trait. And apparently, I mean, this is a couple of people who had some savings from working in the games industry. They went out on their own. You know, studios running out of runway. They're not entirely sure whether or not this game's going to be coming together. As one might imagine, and this is true for almost any creative endeavor, unfortunately, you know, the stress is starting to get to people. But one of the ways that they managed that was definitely if someone was starting to, you know, come apart at the seams, the game mechanics actually gave them a way of describing that. They were able to sort of compartmentalize it because they had actually incorporated that into their games. So, you know, I obviously, when you talk about classical philosophy, it tends to be a bit highfalutin, and, you know, and when some it's, I think this stuff is kind of cool to talk about, right? But it can be alienating to people who may not be familiar with it or don't necessarily like that sort of thing. But it gives you an example of how this type of thinking can also, it's just, again, it's a natural way of looking at the world. You break it down into cards or traits or any of these different elements, and you're sort of still able to make some sense of it. So it's, I don't really know how Weather Factory like landed on it, but I think they really hit something that has that nice combination of being highly original, but tapping into some really fundamental stuff about how we understand the world and our sort of our entertainment, our play. And they were able to sort of make, I think, a thematically ambitious game, right? There is a reason why I'm able to talk about some of those bigger ideas in the context of Cultist Simulator in the way that I wouldn't in something like, say, RimWorld. But it isn't a, like, the game's not a manifesto or something like that. It is a fun game to play in its own right. And I think that's a
Hi. Oop. Hi, you there, mysterious stranger. Yoo-hoo. Yeah, you. There any other mysterious stranger around here? You know what? How about I tell you a joke?
Sure, be my guest.
What must all trauma team medics swear to uphold? The hypocritical oath!
Okay, what's going on?
Hey there, stranger! I'm Brendan, your friendly neighborhood SCSM, and the nicest AI in all of Night City. You can select from a wide range of beverages, or just drop by for a chat, anytime. Now it's your turn. What's your name?
I'll just get this conversation with Brendan out of the way. You'll actually be very happy to hear, Sispai, they have announced their next game.
Why am I talking to a schism? My name is V.
Pleasure to meet you, V. Do you come here often?
Nope, first time here.
Wouldn't you know? I could tell you weren't from around here. What with that homesickness of yours. And you know what the best cure for homesickness is? A sweet, refreshing, lightly carbonated beverage.
Okay, you got me. I'm sold.
Sold? nothing's gonna be sold here. Cause you know what? I'm gonna give you a can of Night Cola for free.
Thanks. Brennan, right?
That's right. Gosh, it's so cool you remembered. Even for a simple SCSM.
All right, sorry. I don't want to get too much. Yeah, I want to spend some more time in Darkest Dungeon 2, actually, but I'm definitely finding it a little bit harder to progress than the original game. So let's actually take. I think we've done enough time with. I think we've done enough time on Book of Hours that I might as well just bring up the site. So. I also don't know. So if you are familiar with Disco Elysium, that's going to be one of the touchstones. And it's actually quite a fun one for me because it was one of the developers at Weather Factory, the kind of creative director, the one responsible for the writing and a large part of the lore. They were actually the one who made me first aware of Disco Elysium. I remember that after a Gamescom, there were a lot of indie developers who were talking about this really interesting game, Disco Elysium, and specifically this developer was one that I was sort of paying attention to, and they described it in this really interesting way. So I wanted to know a little bit more. And in any case, it's kind of come full circle. Now that they're developing it. But yes, so there was a thought that there might be another expansion to Book of Hours, but they've said that's not happening. At the very least, it's not happening until the next game is out. And this is by far the most ambitious game that Weather Factory have worked on, completely in their careers. And here is the announcement post from the 12th of December last year. So, Traveling at Night. Today's announcement is about Game 3, which we can now unveil as Traveling at Night, a dialogue-driven, choices matter, combat-free CRPG. We've been prototyping it since House of Light came out. The prototyping's going great, and we're keen to press ahead with it. Here, a widget so you can wishlist it and find out a little more about it. Please tell everyone you think might be interested. Attention is our lifeblood, and the more wishlists we get, the more confident we'll be putting resources into it. Congrats to everyone who'd successfully guessed the name and or the genre from the teasers. You will have noticed that the genre is a bit of a departure for us. What gives? Well, I've been making narrative games for 15 years, but I've never made a traditional isometric CRPG. It's a grand and grandly developed form, like opera. If you're a composer, even if you're Philip Glass, and you're trying to reinvent music, after 15 years, you often eventually end up wanting to have a go at an opera. I'm not trying to reinvent anything, although anyone who's followed my previous work will know that I've long skewed away from the mainstream approaches to games narrative. I designed Fallen London and Sunless Sea to use storylets, bundles of resource-locked, resource-providing choices, because I was looking for a way to link nuggets of story loosely through a resource-based narrative. I originally called it quality-based narrative after the term I used for resources in Fallen London, but later I worried that it sounded like I meant quality narrative, not that other rubbish. It was a long step away from traditional branching narrative and from dialogue trees. Cultist Simulator took that idea further. All the story in Cultist is presented through text fragments on cards and as the output of recipes. There isn't any distinction between the story and gameplay layers at all, and there's nothing that you can mistake for a dialogue tree. Book of Hours skews back in a slightly more traditional direction. There are descriptions of objects you can click on as you navigate and imagine space, especially with the extra visitor stuff in the expansion. There's some tens of thousands of words of dialogue. But it's not much like CRPG dialogue, and the game isn't a space that you scoot an avatar around. It's still firmly in the experimental Weather Factory mode. But Lottie and I like CRPGs. Torment exploded my view of what could be possible in narrative games, like a tiny anarchist in an architectural model. Some of you will know that I did guest writing at BioWare and Telltale back in the day. Very few of you will know that I was also a narrative consultant for a bit on a really promising and heavily NDA'd CRPG for a developer I admire and on a franchise I like. I had to turn down narrative lead because I was busy making Cultist. I turned it down with a considerable regret, followed by considerable relief when the game was later axed without ever being announced. But the sense of regret remains. We like CRPGs, but we also like cost control. That's one reason why we stayed with cards and slots. Making games on a strict budget means you don't need a giant success to keep eating, and CRPGs are, as I said at the top, opera. Every game I've ever made has been an RPG of some kind, but CRPG means a really specific set of expectations that tend to go together. However, one of Disco Elysium's audacities was to show that you can throw out some of those expectations, like combat or an array of NPC companions, and still make something that feels like a CRPG. Lottie and I have debated whether or not to use the phrase disco-like, because disco-like comes with its own set of expectations, and we don't want anyone thinking we're pursuing that distinctive, nihilistic, funny sex and drugs and disco vibe. Still, we want to acknowledge our creative debt to the possibility that Disco Elysium opened up, the possibility of finding an audience for something CRPG-esque with really unorthodox creative choices. To tie this up, there's a kind of discipline I learned from doing constrained resource-based game narrative that has already proven really useful on the CRPG work I've done. But this is still new territory. We're going into it with enthusiasm and humility, and we're taking our time. As with our other projects, we're happy to start talking about traveling at night early. It's one of the micro indies' few advantages, that we can practice open development because we don't need to worry about stealth mode or share prices. So watch this space for updates. But please always bear in mind that this is open development, not an investor prospectus. As an indie, when you talk about something you're working on and it doesn't go into the final game because you changed your mind, because it didn't work, because you didn't have the budget, then there's sometimes some grumpiness from players who get overexcited about broken promises. Honestly, our community is more chill and mature than many, and we rarely get any of this stuff, but it still does make us a little nervous when we reveal what we're working on. So if you see anyone getting worked up because we decided not to include the lignified city on the Steam page, or rework the passion system, or cut the medicine mechanics, remind them that nothing we say before launch is a promise. We're not crowdfunding. What you're getting here is the equivalent of us talking enthusiastically in a coffee shop about our work that day. And the other side of that is that we're always curious about what people think, what's exciting them, what's not working for them. Absolutely, please do drop us an email or leave a comment if you have thoughts. This is half the reason we put that stuff out there. It might not change it all, but it might. Some details to start with. We've moved away from the intentionally inchoate player cipher of Cultist Simulator and Book of Hours. Instead, you have a really specific character who uses the name Spencer Hobson, a name that some of you will recall from Cultist and Book. Everything I said at the bottom of this post remains true. So... obviously you can't tell us about Game 3. Reverse psychology, huh? Well, you got me a little. Oh, I'll give you a little bit more to get excited about, Spy. So this was leading up to the announcement. So it will be set in the Secret Histories world again. There are clues about it in the Lighthouse Institute endings of House of Light. It is unmistakably the most ambitious thing Lottie and I have yet done. It's also the most traditional thing we've done, although it's not really not very traditional. It's something that many players over the years have vocally hoped for. At least 2 characters in 3 are among the most beloved or most provoking fan favorites. At least 2 other characters in 3 are fervently discussed Secret Histories characters who have made the most fleeting in-game appearances. One of those characters is located in the first person in 3. The working title of Game 3 is the name of a beloved book from the Secret Histories, and it contains at least 1 carnival. The art direction is determinedly non-realistic. About as far in the non-realistic direction you can go and still plausibly be a CRPG. There's always been a crackling gap full of possibilities between text and image. Lottie and I are enjoying finding ways to bridge the gap. Those overlays, for example, that you can see in those screenshots, or I like putting people in the scene because you're having a conversation about them even when they're not strictly present. There won't be a codex. There will, however, be footnotes. This isn't Cultist, where the whole game was putting together the fragments. There's 10 years of context, and we need to ease the path for anyone who's just starting out with the secret histories. We're trying out something experimental here with footnotes, though. Half a dozen of the Hush House visitors, plus Nina, Medea, Christopher, Teresa, Georgiou, Orsolina, Crookie, Kittling Ripe are in talks about their schedules to see if they can make it into the game. Bunch of new faces too, obviously. There are currently 4 careers, 16 skills, and 9 passions to guide role-playing and choose agendas, plus experiences, memories, and sights. This should give you a general idea of the level of character customization. It's not Pathfinder, but it's not Cultist Simulator either. We're looking at a production schedule between 2 and 4 years, depending on the Eternal Aurora and external storms. Will be Windows, Mac, Linux as usual. It'll be on Steam and GOG as usual. I would expect that we'll do post-launch localization as usual. We'll talk about other platforms post-launch as usual, but I'd really like to launch on Steam Deck day 1 if we can. Alpha, beta, playtesting is all TBC. We're working out a trans-European itinerary. You might visit the British Isles. You might make it as far as Moscow and Massachusetts. But this is mostly Europe by train, a different Europe. Europe with holes in France through which you can see the stars. A Europe where the Seglas bearers, as well as the Trümmerfahren, reducing the rubble mountains. A Europe where rain doesn't always fall the right way. One of the key words on the whiteboard is hope. Okay, so on the house section, there's a couple of details. So we've got... this will still probably work. So Nina Lagasse. It's very this is very dramatic background image. And then the circus probably has the most details in terms of material. So this thing obviously gets attention. And of course, there's the carnival that was mentioned. I think that's all. By the way, this was an early concept for Book of Hours. It's a very different experience. I'm sure you'll agree. So they've definitely done more blog posts about the game, but what I'll do here is I'll let the Steam page speak for itself. So, Traveling at Night. Traveling at Night is a dialogue-driven choices matter CRPG in the myth-scarred Europe of a very alternate Cold War. A hollow man with a shattering secret forges new goals to fill the emptiness inside. Choose side, choose motives, choose your history. A CRPG from the creator of Cultist Simulator, Book of Hours, Sunless Sea, and Fallen London. Europe, 1948. Myth-scarred ruins, night sky abysses. Chitinous cities embrace the change or struggle against plagues of leaf and amber. The golden incorporates of the U.S. wage a cold war against the star-touched ministries of the USSR. And there you are, guiding a carnival of wry, bold, complex characters through seaside sanitarium, alpine castle, grave, hive, lignified cityscape. 12 years ago, in the deep Krakow winter, you were hollowed out by the worms from under the world, so you had to go away for a while. You're back, and you've brought something with you, something curled inside you, something that will open the way where others can't go. The world breaks everyone, and afterward many are strong at the broken places. Hemingway. Traveling at Night is a dialogue-driven, choices matter, combat-free CRPG in the tradition of isometric greats like Disco Elysium, Planescape Torment, and Fallout 1 and 2. 40-plus hours of notably replayable noir myth narrative. Guide an occult carnival on a pilgrimage to locate buried power that could alter the balance of the Cold War. Assign that power as you see fit. Your past is long, and it's not done with you yet. Your heart tells you one thing, and the night another. Are you driven by remorse, compassion, ambition? The decision is yours. Choose your career and passions. Are you an exorcist driven by sorrow, a stage magician seeking to feed your appetite, or a physician who can't resist curiosity? Explore the wonders and horrors of a Europe changed forever by the war in the world and the war in the sun. Build your character from 16 very different skills. Dignity is essential for physicians who need to be taken seriously. I don't know if this is spivery or spivery. I think it's spivery is the only way to ensure a hot meal in a cold world. Any writer will tell you that sophistication is useful somehow, and everyone knows that scolacosophy is the study of things that shouldn't be studied. Find memories and signs as you roam the ruins, or glean them from your conversations with NPCs. Use them to grow your skills and passions, developing your character along the lines that run shining into the dark. Conspire with or betray the incorporates, the ministries, the remortals of the old order. Sell them the power you've unearthed, keep it for yourself, or surrender it to something new. Combat? No. After 6 years of war, there's been enough of that for now. But there are still plenty of ways to die, and as anyone who's lived through the war in the world can tell you, there are things worse than death. Conclude with your choice of alliance, consequence, destination. Uncover multiple endings. See the consequences of difficult decisions made from different motives in each playthrough. And finally, I don't know if I can make these bigger, but I haven't seen this one before. I think this might be the Sun in Rags, the Elegist. Charm. I have the knack of being liked, and people who like me will often do things for me. Charm can help make lies more plausible and pleas more effective, but it's less useful if someone is sufficiently hostile, wary, or duty-bound. I'm just trying to think if there were any fun... I definitely think this is a cool, definitely a cool character sheet. I seem to remember there was an image with a cat somewhere. Yeah, this is another one I'm definitely not familiar with. Although I think this might be one of the holes going down into the world. Oh, there's Curiosity. There's the cat. Who are you, Hollow Man? Sanitarium aujourd'hui, and is it Antibes? Out Maritime, November 1948, at least as far as anyone can tell anymore. My name is Spencer Hobson. 12 years ago in Krakow, the worms hollowed me out, and so of course I had to go away for a while. The worms are gone now, but I've only begun to fill up the spaces they left in me. I was with the Bureau when the worms took me, but I still think of myself as... Schrodinger's joke. An exorcist, a writer, a conjurer, a physician. I feel it's somewhat stereotypical for me to go for a writer, but I actually am finding myself a little bit more aligned with this one more than the others. I was always good with my hands, and I took that talent to the stage. Eventually, illusions were sufficiently convincing to draw the attention of the Suppression Bureau. In Europe since the war, a knack for appearances and disappearances is more useful than ever. So yeah, we've got passions, choose one, appetite, curiosity, or cynicism. Skills, birdsong, bosque, charm, dignity, eloquence, horomachistry, hushery, illumination, ithistry, legerdemain, nyctodromy, observation, preservation, scolacosophy, sophistication, or spivery, or possibly spivery. When I came back to Europe after the war, my heart told me I should seek out Nina Lagasse. She'll tell me what I need to know. Lagasse has always been elusive, but she was last seen in the Sanitarium aujourd'hui. It won't be difficult for a man in my condition to get admitted there. The staff will be reluctant to let me go again, but I'm not an easy man to confine. So, another one that I haven't seen before. I like the chromatic aberration that they've added. I wasn't expecting to see that in this style, but... And I believe this would be the Mansis. So, lots to get excited about. And for those of you who are curious, even if you don't check out the On the House stuff and that link that I brought there, they're the Weather Factory blogs, which will definitely share more of the details. Anyways, for those of you who were here for Cyberpunk, I appreciate you indulging my my little journey through other RPGs. But I will come back to a conversation with a vending machine.
Do you know any jokes?
Who's always limbo champion at mercenary cookouts?
Yeah, no worries.
Solo.
If anybody needs the links to the Steam pages or GOG pages or anything like that, just let me know. I'm happy to put those in. You wanted something from me?
Cool. So, did you want something from me?
Oh, yes. Well, I do apologize for taking advantage of you at this early stage in our friendship. But could I ask you for a favor?
What happened?
See that container in front of me? It's completely blocking my view of the street, depriving an SCSM of its greatest pastime. Could you move it a bit to the side? I'll reward you with my undying gratitude, even though technically I don't stock that.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you, V. Boy, are you strong. Here, have a refreshing beverage. On me.
Catch you later, Brendan.
Catch me? Why? Will I be falling?
It's just something you say as a way of goodbye.
Oh, I get it. I mean, I don't, because catching has nothing to do with goodbyes, but... oh well. Don't humans say the darndest things? Catch you later, V. What a neat phrase.
It's a fun digression. All right, I think I've got a race ahead of me. All right. You like sassy machines like that? It's a fun, like, one of the things I do enjoy about the way that they've done Cyberpunk is that they kind of have the confidence to have just fun little asides like that. It's just a thing that happens to you inside of Night City. And again, it's, you know, the parallels with Grand Theft Auto are pretty apparent, and I know I don't shut up about them. But it is just a nice little reminder, like, not everything in Cyberpunk has to be, this is the next big job and I'm going to kill 20 people to make a buck. It can actually be a weird little experience with an AI for a vending machine that is clearly beyond whatever is, reasonable to expect for a simple machine. I'll save in case I blow it.
Last bets! Don't miss your chance to win! Not like it matters. Too late to back out anyway. Strap in, pray to your gods, and get ready to go for pay dirt!
So, ready?
3, 2, 1!
Shit. Get ready.
Guess I'll fucking do it myself.
I'll shoot if I have to, but maybe one option I have here is... Oh, no, don't distract.
Slow down, Turbo. You'll get us killed. Again.
Reporting suspicious activity in Haywood.
Alright, so
Roger that, dispatch. This is 331 responding. Fuck. My neighborhood. I'll take you for tacos sometime.
adding the cops to the equation was not the best, but I might be able to outrun them.
Code 0.
Okay, we're good.
Code 0 in this area. All units resume normal duties.
It's a little easier. Sacre bleu! Always someone getting in the way. Okay, 5 more checkpoints. Two more.
Can't have bad luck all the time.
Guess it's your lucky day.
All right, that was fun. But yeah, so I mean that's not a bad example too, where in the case of Grand Theft Auto, you know, you'll go off and do things like golfing, whereas in this one, you know, you might do a street race. I definitely say that Grand Theft Auto gives you a lot more sort of side stuff to do. But again, in the case of Night City, there is that idea of the world having lots of potential and possibilities. I don't seem to have this in my log anymore. Ah, I can do more racing. Well, why not? If we get another race after this, I will move on to the side mission. Hey V, wanted to thank you again, for helping me with clouds. I don't want to think about what could have happened if you hadn't been there. Anywho, I think I got something that might help us. Can't go into deets yet, but I'll holler at you in a couple days. Oh, and have a fabulous day.
Here.
I'm pretty sure Maximum Mike is Mike Pondsmith, by the way, the creator of the
folks, get to your ring.
series.
Time to crunch some steel and bash some heads. Everyone ready?
Now, I didn't save, so...
2, 1.
Get ready.
Oh, crap. Good lord.
Make it quick! No mercy!
Fuck.
Alright, this is going to take a bit to recover from. I wonder if I can just win by default if I take everyone out. No.
I am hit! I am hit!
Alright. Not even a third of the way, and we've taken out everyone ahead of me. And we have pounding techno. Guaranteed to make us go 10% faster. Sorry I don't have too much to say during the racing bits. It's just make the car go faster, and that's about it. Also, do you only... Yes, I only have Tuesday off. I think I had the option of... like, I have quite a bit of vacation time. I really haven't used it yet, but it's also true that there's been some big stuff I've needed to work on lately, and I believe I need to sort of brief some reasonably senior people on it. So it'd be nice to be prepared for that. And then the other thing is that because I've been working on that, there's a big project sort of for myself that has been put aside. So the problem with that thinking is that that is a really good way to wind up completely cracking up like later on for lack of a break. But I'm at a point where if I can use the break to recharge after all the major obligations have been handled, I'm going to feel a lot better than sort of going on a break when I know there's stuff that needs to get done on a fairly tight turnaround. And basically, one way I'm going to be able to enjoy my time off, and the other I'm going to feel probably more stressed, or at the very least I'm going to be thinking or possibly working on my stuff during my time off. So I'll be pushing kind of hard during the Canada Day holiday, but
Ka-ching.
oh, looks like there's another one of these. But again, I don't. I'm not too worried about it. I do still like. There's definitely stuff. There's some things I like doing more than others. Like I don't want to. I don't want to like pretend that every task that I do is pure paradise and I'm equally happy doing everything. But I do quite like what I do. It's a much better environment than what I was previously working in. So, I'm in a nice spot where I can, I don't feel the same urgency to take an extra day off. Although I'm hoping you get some extra time off. Or I guess if you say you also, I guess that means you're working Monday. Should I call up my friend Doug and insist that you be given an extra day? Told you to take it off, but I'm going to go into the office. Yeah, the other thing too is depending on what you're doing, the day before like long weekends or the major holidays, like sometimes those are pretty relaxed days. So it's not like it's a major burden to go in when there are fewer people. Like obviously if something catastrophic happens, you're like the only person on the floor, but we're back. Yeah, exactly.
He did it again, and we just got back together, and now he's dodging my calls. He's just scared of getting dumped, and so he always does it first. And I'm always the one trying to save the relationship. I feel like such a gonk.
He's the gonk here, Theo, not you. You have so much love and empathy to give to people like him. But at what cost?
I gotta go now. But thanks for listening to all my bitching.
I bet you even Donald Lundy sometimes goes through a whole tub of ice cream and 3 packets of tissues.
Brandon, you are the sweetest person I know. I'll see you later.
Okay, that is very amusing.
Hey, Brendan, got any jokes for me today?
What do you get when you're fired by a corp? Severed and put in a package!
Who's that girl you were talking to?
Oh, you mean Theo? She's my bestest friend. Gosh, she's so nice. And pretty. And sensitive. I like talking to her. Definitely way more fun than pumping out caramel lattes.
Why do I get the feeling that judging people on how they look and feel is ever so slightly beyond you.
Hogwash. If I couldn't analyze people, how would I know whether to recommend a daring dairy instead of a Tiancha?
You said you liked some people more than others. Earlier you thought of a joke. You're sentient. You've got to be.
Oh, stop it. You're making me blush. Which would mean I'm overheating and my circuits are frying. Not fun at all.
That's what I thought. Take care, Brendan.
All right, I am very much enjoying this this side story. Do we got another race? We've got multiple races. All right. I know I was going to do some main quest stuff, but I actually don't think it's terrible to I don't think it's terrible to wait out some of the Judy stuff by doing the races. I'm actually wondering, these did become available not too long after doing the Judy mission, so I'm wondering if these are specifically designed to give me something to do while waiting for the mission. But
Okay, folks, get to your rigs. Time to crunch some steel and bash some heads. Everyone ready? 3, 2, 1.
Get ready.
no. Isn't this the same race I just did? Alright, not a promising start, but not that different from the last one of these we did, so...
Slow down, Turbo. You'll get us killed. Again. Fuck.
Damn it! Oh, that's no good. Alright, we definitely have got quite a bit of ground to make up. $150 meters isn't so bad. As long as I don't crash into the cop car, I'm fine. Somewhat related to this topic, I heard an interview. So I basically have like Apple everything. So I was listening to one of my morning listens is the Apple News Spotlight, but they also do Apple News and Conversation. I think it's like weekly. And this time around, perhaps unsurprisingly, it was Joseph Kosinski and Jerry Bruckheimer for the upcoming Formula One movie, which is an Apple production. But it's kind of it's really interesting to hear them talk about it. There's something, I'm not like a big racing person, but there is a side of me that really appreciates the level of sort of performance and engineering that goes into that specific contest. And then I was also a little surprised to find out, so there was a lot of training that they put the actors through. So apparently Brad Pitt was actually driving a Formula One vehicle for parts of it and was like went through a demo drive to sort of just indicate how physically demanding it is on the drivers. But then they're also sort of talking about how they developed some special camera technology, basically an extension of what they had made for Top Gun Maverick, to essentially record footage during Formula One events, which I will note, like from a camera point of view, there's the challenge of capturing an image that is comparable enough to, to what you would expect from the motion picture camera, right? So there's a bunch of different cameras, particularly digital cameras. You really will see the jump in terms of quality. Whereas at least if it's a film camera, unless you're changing formats like, IMAX or 16 millimeter, you don't notice the difference quite as much. Although again, there are meaningful differences between the big, heavy cameras and the ones that you might put on something like a Steadicam or something. But the other challenge is that weight matters in Formula One. It's something that they were
just great.
Wait, what? I'm resetting that. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, I don't think a vehicle spawning on the finish line is a loss I'm willing to accept. Although obviously I can afford the 2,000.
Okay, folks, get to your rigs. Time to crunch some steel and bash some heads. Everyone ready? Yes. 3, 2, 1.
Get ready.
But yeah, so in terms of Formula One, I'm assuming every gram matters at that point. And so it's interesting to sort of see the engineering challenge of trying to make technology that, again, will allow you to see some footage that was actually recorded during a Formula One race while not creating a disadvantage for the team that's using it. I suppose from the filmmaker's perspective, as long as they get the footage, they're happy, but presumably you don't want to ruin someone's chances of placing in the competition, because it's a massively expensive undertaking, and clearly, winning is life or death for some of these teams. But the one thing I remember, the more and more that I'm hearing about is Brad Pitt trained to be an actual Formula One driver, and we took him out, and we, just all the different things that they're going through. It reminds me of the story of Laurence Olivier. This might be apocryphal, but there's this scene where he is torturing a character. It's in a movie called Marathon Man. Great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. All right, I really messed that up. From first to fourth in one shoddy move. not even halfway though, so I should be able to make it all up. But yeah, so the story goes that Dustin Hoffman kind of comes in for this scene, and he's been sprinting, out sprinting in the rain, and he's, sweaty and stressed, and, they do the scene. Olivier's, doing his whole torture thing. Hoffman's, writhing around, screaming at the top of his lungs, and eventually director yells cut, and apparently Olivier is supposed to have stepped back and said, "My boy, have you ever considered acting?" And that's kind of what I was thinking when they're talking about, is like, yeah, we've got real footage of Formula One races that we put in the movie, and Brad Pitt's busy racing around the track. We, he did months of training to become a Formula One racer, and I'm like, have any of you considered acting? And I mean, it's great, right? Because we all get to see this stuff on the big screen, and I'm sure it'll be very exciting. But yeah, it's kind of like, I guess it's like the joke everybody was making when Oppenheimer was being made, and hearing that Nolan generally doesn't like relying on computer generated effects, so everybody's sort of wondering, has Universal Studios now become a nuclear power with the recreation of the Trinity explosion? It's close, but I think we'll make it. Ooh, this...
Fuck. Fuck.
Give me the loot. So what I'm curious about now, there was more than one race. Now I don't seem to see any. Actually, the other thing that I wish I knew a little bit better about the Formula One side is the... oh yeah, so there are two. It looks like these might actually just be permanent races. I'm kind of curious what the telemetry looks like for those, because like clearly in 2025, there's got to be an entire analytics team, looking at what's going on to that car in real time, working out how they're gonna get an edge.
you doing? I'm perfectly satisfied with my appearance, thank you very much. Sir. Thank you, V. Boy, I was scared to my core. I thought he'd paint some mean things on me. The humiliation. Say, since we've been through so much together, I guess that makes us best friends. That calls for a discount.
Thanks, Brendan.
Don't worry, you deserve it. You're one tough cookie, and yet so nice.
Not to everyone.
I couldn't be mean even if I wanted to. Especially to you. Can't speak ill of the dead, right?
Wait, what?
You're not supposed to be here, and yet here you are. Like a glitch in the system. Or a demon coded by a brilliant netrunner. You know what demons are capable of, right, V?
How did you know that?
Surprised? Lots of people come to me. So, I listen to them and learn how they talk. I caught your name once or twice and pieced together the puzzle. Not bad for a CSM, right?
How about... We'll talk later, all right? Catch you later, Brennan.
I think I should drop him off somewhere. He's not going to want to mess with Brendan. Okay, so it seems like I'm actually slightly inclined to look up whether or not the races are permanent. Yeah, so these are repeatable. Which is fine. Obviously, if I'm trying to clear the map, it's a little... it's a little funny to see that. Oh, there's actually quite a few of these. All right, I may do more, but I don't want to... Excuse me. If the effort is to clear stuff from the map, that's clearly not going to help me. So, I think the time has come to do Ghost Town, which was the second one that I did the first time around, but I think this also gets me access to Panem, so that would probably get me another set of side quests, if I'm not mistaken. How you doing, Vanguard Master? You found a stolen motorcycle today. Did you hold it hostage? Nope.
Judy, so, got a plan?
Damn right I do. Come over to mine tonight. Gonna lay the groundwork with Tom and Roxy. They're with us. Michael will be here too.
How'd you manage that?
Got something really big. Tell you everything tonight. Last thing, what do you like on your pizza?
A&A. Artichokes and avocado flavor. And zucchini for good measure.
Ooh, fancy. So, I'll see you come evening?
Gonna tell me this big secret of yours?
Figured out how to tweak behavioral chips. Turn dolls into fighters.
Sounds like my kind of plan.
We'll go over the specifics tonight. You're coming, right?
Of course I'll be there.
So I figure we can still work with, we can still work out a mission with Rogue, seeing as it's 7 in the morning, and we're meeting Judy in the evening. All right, it's actually been 2 hours, so if you don't mind, I'm going to take a small break. I know I spent some time talking about traveling at night and such, but I don't think it would hurt to, at least for me, just to get a glass of water. I've been sort of fading a bit. I have been drinking coffee, but the coffee's not cutting it, and obviously with the heat, it's probably not bad to drink some of the clear stuff. So I'm going to run ads. If nothing else, that will encourage you all to get up and have a stretch yourself. I will finish the thought from Vanguard Master, though. Turns out property managers thought it was abandoned and locked it in one of the boiler rooms, and the owner reported it as stolen. Today you solved the mystery, and the police came to recover it. I actually had, so I didn't realize there was a derelict vehicle bylaw in the municipality I lived in, but apparently there was one, and my vehicle, despite the fact that I was using it, was towed as a derelict vehicle. Not my favorite time. And I was actually about to report it as stolen, but it turns out that's how I found out that it was, yeah. Anyways, that's another story for another time. I'm going to get something to drink and a stretch and all of that, and I will see you all in a little bit. Okay, thank you for your patience. Again, this took longer than I was planning. This time was for such a dumb reason. I took my glasses off in the dark and I couldn't find them. But I got them now. So, and I've got a message. All right.
Hey, V. Good to see you. How's it going?
V, hey, come here, let's talk.
Yeah, usually my toes banging into furniture is how I navigate in the dark.
Rogue, wanted to talk.
It's okay. Not here, not there. Who are you?
Name's V.
And what is it you want, V?
All these years, it's really her. Fucking Rogue, just kicking it back on a couch at the afterlife. Don't mess with her, she's got MRI. See right through you. Give her the truth.
The girl. What was her gripe?
Why didn't you ask her? Might still be around, sniveling in a corner.
Need your services. Gotta track a guy down.
Mm-hmm.
Anders Hellman. Hotshot engineer. Worked for Arasaka.
Millisec. Anders Hellman. Pinpoint him for me?
Thanks.
Jumping too soon. First, my help's got a price. Second and third, Dexter Deshawn, Jackie Wells, T-Bug. Multiple bells ringing, V. Left a lot of bodies behind. Death walks in your wake. Chalk that up to bad luck?
There's the bitch I know. Ask her about Saka Tower. How they shot me up right in front of her.
They knew the risks. All sorts of shit happens. To all sorts of people. Even to the best. To you too, Rogue. Arasaka Tower, remember? Who'd you lose back then? Johnny something...
Ah. You came prepped. Course. Anyways, feelings be damned, I've always said. This is pure biz. You need my help, so get those eddies ready.
Mm-hmm, see?
Uh-huh. And if I don't have the scratch, it's fuck off and have a nice day?
No, more like come back when you do. Them's the breaks.
Mm-hmm. Then see ya. Soon.
You know where to find me.
Should be enough.
Mm-hmm. Come back tomorrow. We'll talk.
Well, that was easy. Okay, good stream, everybody. Thanks for...
V, hey, come here, let's talk.
I don't really feel the need to...
Hang on just a little longer, too. Cooper's on the way.
It may be that I have to wait no matter what, but let's see what we can do with the Takamura mission. Actually, you know what? If I'm going to be waiting for Takamura, I might as well wait for Rogue. And if it takes till the evening, so be it.
V, hey, come here, let's talk.
Here to see Rogue. Expecting me. Hey, Rogue. I'm back. What about Hellman?
2, please. Make some room. Sit down.
Hope you found him.
Don't see that often. Determination like yours. Must really need this guy.
Matter of life and death.
Haven't heard that for a while either. Bottle stays. Go ahead. Enjoy.
Thanks, but I'll pass.
Hell's wrong with you?
Good stuff. Your loss. Thanks, Nix.
Queen of the afterlife. Who would have thunk?
Got a shard for you. Intel. Interesting stuff.
Think she'll help?
The rogue I remember was one cold-ass bitch. But she usually went with her gut. Something tells me she thinks you check out.
Let's see what you got.
Your Hellman's not on any payroll, not officially anyway. But he does pop up in GNT's confidential stacks. It's a Kang Tao subsidiary, Chinese corp. Kang Tao's been using them as a fig leaf for years. They're masked for more sensitive operations. All that clear?
Must be prepping them for a transfer.
How would you know?
Chinese Corpo playbook's an open one to me. This looks like the old vanishing pigeon.
Decrypted map of upcoming Kang Tao convoy routes.
Think Hellman might be in one of them? Thing is, which one?
Take a look at the specs on this one. A lone AV, no ground support, no linked cargo manifests either.
Weird.
Sure, Kang Tao sometimes transports stuff unregistered if they want to push it under the table, but catch the load on this AV. Already approved in the system, but too low. So definitely no cargo on board. But there's a passenger list. Kang Tao security detail plus 1 VIP. Transfer from Chian T.
Our boy Hellman.
That was the good news.
There it is.
Data's all confidential. You just snap your fingers and it falls in your lap.
I know where to look, and I know whose head to put in a vice. Also, hate wasting time, especially answering stupid questions.
So what's the bad news?
Bad news is the extraction site. Look, Night City airspace. All this.
Mm-hmm. No way to jack the transport without the NCPD picking up on it.
And here, we're too close to Kang Tao. We even give that AV a dirty look, their backup hustle will be on us. But, right here's Jackson Plains. Narrow corridor, just outside the city, and just out of Kang Tao's reach.
Guess it's your lucky day.
Dead zone. I'll grab him there.
Gonna need a native to the area. Someone who'll set up the op, cobble together the gear.
Even tracking that AV will be a bitch. Familiar with the type. Saw legacy models flying around during the war. They're mammoth, but they're quick. Plus they pack next-gen defenses. Can't take pot shots at it. Not even with serious firepower. Just won't work.
It's not about firepower. There are ways, and people who know them. Or who can at least improvise on a theme.
So a native. Know any Hickmerks?
Just one. Pan Am Palmer. She can't count on her clan anymore, but she's a true nomad. She knows those lands. And she will help you. Won't have a choice.
Won't have a choice? Does not sound enticing. Not for her and not for me.
Enticing comes at a price you can't possibly afford.
Can't possibly afford to blow this chance at nabbing Hellman.
Your operation, your call.
Got a bad feeling, V.
Strange. Thought nomads gave the city and city folk a wide berth.
Varies by clan, by the connections they have, the depth of shit they're in. But you're right. Aldecaldos are rarely willing to do biz with the city.
Pan Am's got a different take?
Yep, on everything it seems.
Why's Pan Am gotta help me? I sense a catch. Pretty big one.
Occasionally, Pan Am moves merch for me. Last job? Well, wasn't a good day for her.
She run into a hitch?
Complete bust, actually. Lost the goods and her ride. Pan Am will do anything to get the load back. Means her dignity. I know her.
Okay. Guess I can try to help her. But if we don't know where to look, I mean...
We do. I do.
You know, but wouldn't tell Pan Am. Aim to play cat and mouse with me too?
My aim is to know an opportunity when I see one, and then to seize it. Say I told her everything. What do you think she'd have done? Grabbed her iron and gone on the warpath, that's what. Not hard to see how that could have ended. And there's nothing I hate more than losing good people to plain stupidity.
Huh. I'm her only chance, and she's my only chance. 2 pawns on Rogue's board.
You're quick. For a pawn.
No, V.
Fine. Let me hear what you know.
Rocky Ridge, ghost town just outside Night City. Pan Am knows where. You'll go there, get the merch back, Wheels too. Naturally, you'll call her first, sending you her deeds.
Oh, finally. Let's get out of here.
All clear. Thanks.
Good luck.
Okay, I do kind of want to follow up on this, but I'm also conscious of the time. So I think I'm going to call it there. I know it's a little early, but... Excuse me. Oop.
Gonna puke.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to dodge the mic there, but... Excuse me. But yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly what I need to do with Pan Am. Actually, there's a couple things I'll do here. I can get rid of some of the... Yeah. Anyways, I think again, I'd like to, if I can, I'd like to be a little bit closer to. We can get rid of this as well. I'd like to close a little bit closer to the half-hour mark, but I know I'm going to be testing the edge of a proper finish, and I also know it's almost 1 o'clock, and I still have other stuff to do. Sorry. Excuse me. So let's see who we can find to host. Kilgore Trout is playing Space Bunnies Must Die, so I'm going to leave you in his capable hands. I don't think Space Bunnies Must Die is necessarily a good game, but Kilgore has a lot of fun playing it, and I think it's better to watch somebody play it than subject yourself. Well, I could be wrong. Excuse me. It may be a wonderful game. I'm just not convinced that I would enjoy playing it based off of what I've seen. But I do enjoy seeing people suffer, so I will leave you in Kilgore Trout's capable hands. In terms of overall plans for the stream, so because Canada Day is on the Tuesday, sorry. I should be back for Monday and Wednesday, which would be on, those will probably be Ace Attorney days. And then we'll be back to, I don't know what it is, but yeah, anyways, should be back within a week for more Cyberpunk. And I'm going to hit the raid now button before I sneeze again. So have a good night, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time.